Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. We have reached the end of the Japanese heavy cruiser line, and this is the Zao. Now, unlike the other Japanese heavy cruisers, this one did not exist. The Japanese were having a plan for these. This was a Type A, Model A, something like that, heavy cruiser, and meant as a successor to the Ibukis, but it was a 1941 design and was never put into production. We don't know an awful lot about the design because apparently all the design drafts have been destroyed. So the ship that we see in game here is relatively hypothetical on what Japan could have been building to fulfill the requirements for a cruiser leader for the big battle torpedo cruiser sort of division that Japan was planning. Well then, and with not much else to say, let's go quickly and have a look how this one compares to the Tier 9 and to see if the whole shebang is even worth it. So, Ibuki versus Zao. Now, the first thing that stands out here is that Zao gets the exact same ship skills as Ibuki, but the Zao can fit a unique equipment piece. This is a slot 2 module, which gives traverse speed and traverse acceleration, so faster rudder, but also gives a 5% surface detection boost, which is relatively nice. Other than that, we have a bunch more hit points, but from the armor layout, it looks relatively similar. The most interesting part is the guns. So the Ibuki obviously sporting the third year type number 2 guns, which were the sort of refitted standard heavy cruiser guns that the Japanese were redesigned standard heavy cruiser guns that the Japanese were fielding in pretty much everything. Whereas the Zao is having a hypothetical type 18 gun. That gun never existed, and I don't think there was a design for that either. But it comes in very unusually for Japan, triple turrets. So she gets a 12-gun layout compared to the 10 guns on the Ibuki. Which means she gets a better range, and she gets better damage, and she gets a 9% fire chance on these guns, but with the same reload. There is a difference between these guns and the Ibuki's guns, however. The armor piercing on these guns isn't completely terrible. So, especially if you're in a close range engagement and you need to do as much damage as possible. These are very precise guns. So if you are manual aiming at, let's say, 7 kilometers at battleships, you can score citadels pretty reliably with the armor piercing on these guns, which is quite unusual for Japanese guns. Other than that, at longer ranges or against even just cruiser belt armor, not so much. But if you're facing things like battleships at close engagements, you can very much make use of the armor piercing on these shells. But with a 9% fire chance, you're normally pretty well off using the high explosive. Just don't expect it to do full penetrations against belts or similar. The torpedoes, she gets a 20 torpedo layout. This thing has 5 more torpedoes than a Shimakaze. They are doing more damage than on the Ibuki and have a better range, but other than that, these are the very, very excellent long lance torpedoes. The layout is a little different. We'll look at that in a second here. The AA has been further buffed, but still it's not massive in terms of AA, and there might be more buffs coming in 7.0, I don't know, we'll find out. And the concealment isn't quite as good as on the Ibuki, but like I said, you have the legendary module that you can fit in to do something about that. So what does that look like if you're fitting it out like that? Well, first of all, I am switching the elite bonus around here from the elite gun operator to the advanced engine, because this is a very sneaky tier 10 ship. But if you get yourself into trouble, you need to get yourself out of trouble again as well. And especially if you're fitting the legendary module, you lose the 20% acceleration bonus in slot 2, which can be quite nasty. So that's why I've switched that over. But they're both still very good bonuses. I am sticking with the main battery mod 1 for main battery traverse. Like I said in the Buki review, it's probably completely viable to go with main battery mod 3 for better precision, although she is very precise with the skill active. Or you can go with the torpedo tube modification for faster torpedo reload. Just be aware that this is a bit of a glass cannon, so the turrets and the torpedo tubes are very fragile and get shot off very easily as it is. So further reducing that stability, I'm not sure if I'm too happy about it, because after you do a repair on the torpedo tubes, you have to go through a full reload cycle, which is well over a minute on these ships. Now here, you've got this steering gear mod in slot 2. The normal steering gear mod gives you 10% traverse acceleration and a bit of survivability. This one gives both max traverse speed and traverse acceleration, plus a 5% surface detection. What you're trading in for it is the 20% acceleration from the propulsion mod. So it's not a must-have, but I think it's a good legendary module that you can put into the ship. In the first game, I'll be playing with the regular propulsion mod. In the second game, I'm playing with the special legendary module. So you get the 10% surface detection from the concealment system, plus an extra 5% from that. Plus, you can head over to the camouflage, and since you're at tier 10, get another 4% surface detection out of that thing. Plus range on main battery and torpedoes. So with all of that installed, you can get yourself to, well, let's go from the top. We're at an 8-second turn time, which is not bad for a tier 10 cruiser, tier 10 heavy cruiser. We haven't really done anything on the guns except range. 12 kilometers is okay. It's not grand, but it's perfectly viable given the concealment on these things. We've got 20 torpedoes with a range of 10.6 kilometers. And we've got the concealment down, the surface detection down to 7.14 kilometers before supplies kick in. So there's a further 3% that gets off. This is a very sneaky heavy cruiser. This thing can actually viably make use of its concealment very easily and use it to disengage, because the ship is both very fast. We have an almost 36 knots max speed, and again, supplies, that's before supplies, but a very fast, very sneaky heavy cruiser. So she can comfortably stealth torpedo. Just make sure you start turning the ship around in time. Now, I have played with first the regular setup, just with a normal camo and with the regular commander, and I've played with our friend Togo again here, and I think it's pretty much the same setup that I had on the Ibuki. So nothing really surprising here. Using his legendary skills, using the IFHE Plus here. Although it doesn't make a massive difference, they're still very good HE shells. But like I said, the AP on the Zao is actually usable. But you do have to be comfortable knowing where to aim. So if you need to, if you can deck aim at reasonable ranges, you can very reliably score citadels on battleships. Is it worth it? Different question. I'd say it depends. If you are in a situation where, where you need to wear down the battleship's health very quickly because it's about to kill you, then that's a viable choice. Otherwise, the HE is the best choice on long range, and the AP also against destroyers is pretty viable because it is not as punchy as on other ships. And that's kind of where it comes in here, because while the IFHE, even the IFHE Plus, doesn't do a huge deal, you could, on a normal captain, if you don't have the legendary commander, go for the AP. And with the APCS skill, you could then check if you can do. Sorry, just something fell over just now. With the APCS skill, you then have to check if you're starting to overpenetrate destroyers. But it's a bit of the standard heavy cruiser kind of know your guns thing. That said, you're on a Japanese ship, you're relatively safe with the HE shells because they do almost as much damage, and the 9% fire chance is really not something to sneeze at, because you are with 12 shells, you are setting quite a fair amount of fires with these things. All right, so we will have two battles, one in a more regular setup and one in a everything money can buy sort of setup with maximum concealment, and we'll see how that plays out. The first round is actually less than ideal because we are in an assault cruiser, which is very good at long range gunnery and shooting torpedoes at battleships and things. And we're facing, well, an Izumo, but Worcester, Holland, Shima, Kita, and Yugumo with an epicenter battle. So we're kind of having to play support cruiser, which is sort of not what the ship is good at all, and can be a little bit struggling. That said, if a destroyer thinks that it can, it can come close to you with these guns, they'll regret that very quickly. Anyway, we'll have to be a little careful, but we are going to, first look at the torpedo angles. The Zao actually has decent forward torpedo angles, and that's relatively unusual for Japanese cruisers. Unfortunately, that does also mean that it limits her torpedo angles backwards. I would actually have almost preferred them to be less forward oriented and more rear oriented for kiting. But it is what it is. So in comparison to the Ibuki, she has positively useful forward torpedo angles. Anyway, we are going to wait for that daring and see if he manages to get his connection under control, and then we will sneak a little bit forward and see where we can get ourselves. And we have found the Holland. Now, we have also found Shimakaze. I will drop some torpedoes in the general direction of everything, but hello, Mr. Holland. So he's shooting at me, so he will have torpedoes away. There they come. So let's see if we can avoid most of them. You can be a bit of a nasty surprise for enemy destroyers, really, because it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long for between you spotting them spotting you and you spotting them right back again. We have managed to get a torpedo hit. There is a Worcester in the middle, and I'm going to have to start disengaging here a little bit because it gets a little hot here. So I'm a buck off at this point. My damage control is on cooldown, while the daring is still zipping around in the countryside by the power of lag. And I'm just gonna stop shooting my guns, honestly, because I am a stealthy cruiser, so my concealment goes down any second now. I should be unspotted. Come on, game. Come on. Make me unspotted. There we go. I'll just have to dodge these remaining torpedoes and the Izumo's incoming fire in here, and then you can go undetected and reposition and find yourself a better space to be. So this is relatively unique in a top-tier cruiser, that you can do this kind of thing. And we will try to drop some torpedoes maybe in the general direction of that Worcester, because not necessarily something I want to deal with, but I can get past that. Nah, I'm spotted again. I thought I could get past him without being detected. Oh well, let's get the torpedoes out. I think daring has torpedoes out, and then we'll disengage. We'll not engage him. Maybe he thinks we didn't realize he's there. But insta double fire again, obviously. So these ships burn very quickly. Yeah, Worcester's been paying attention. He's not an idiot, but that Yugumo there is not paying attention, and he's about to find out what happens when you sail next to a Zao. That would be this. Goodbye. Okay, but we do need to get ourselves out of here, because we're once again on fire, and there's the double fire again. So yeah, these ships very much don't have a good survivability when it comes to fires. So yeah, there we are, triple permafire, and it's about time to go undetected once more and see if we can keep that Worcester away from things, and see if we can make ourselves useful. Where are you, Mr. Worcester? There he is. Are you coming out this way? Just in case you are, I'm gonna drop some torpedoes in your general direction. But it looks like, yeah, he's not interested in giving chase. He's been playing this before. He's not an idiot, so he knows that Zaos have torpedoes. So I don't have the hit points to deal with that right now. I'm gonna make myself scarce again and go undetected. And this isn't even the concealment build. Now I have an island between myself and things, so I should be free to shoot at the Izumo over there. And we've got some torpedoes ready, just in case somebody comes around. Might as well drop them, maybe. Let's see. Nah, Worcester is already going the other way, so maybe on the Izumo we can drop the torpedoes. But as soon as he spots me, he's going to start shooting at me again. Yep, there he comes. That Worcester really wants me dead, so yeah, no, I prefer not to be on fire. And obviously he is in a good island position, so I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to go undetected. And we've dropped our torpedoes. As long as he's shooting at me, he's not shooting at my destroyers. So let's see. Maybe we can just keep him. Occupied. Yes. Before you ask, at this range, the armor piercing is not going to penetrate a Worcester reliably. So I've got a couple of. Yep, got the Izumo. And there. How does it feel to be on fire, Mr. Worcester? Do you have other problems now? Yes, you actually do, because you've been busy shooting at me all this time instead of dealing with the destroyers in my team. So how does that... Support cruiser. And that should be the end of the Worcester. Let's see if I can get him. Nope, the Chungmu takes him out. Well done. So sometimes just being a distraction is not a bad thing as well. And but yeah, you have to be careful with things like Worcester's, Des Moines, or Hindenburgs, or something like that. You can't easily take on these cruisers because they're maneuverable enough. They have generally sonar, and they will. You're not going to be able to torpedo them unless you get the jump on them on close range, and even then, it's a tricky proposition. In the second game, this is the fully set up Zao. So with a sub 7 kilometer surface detection, we are facing Black Yamato, Montana, Republik, Moskwa, and the Zao on the enemy team. And it's a domination map, so we can actually make use of our concealment and spring a little bit of a surprise on the enemy. Although they do not have any destroyers, but I can be relatively aggressive, probably more than I should, but you know me by now. Who are we spawning with? We are on Sea of Fortune near A-Cup. We can certainly get the jump on things, and A-Cup has a useful island I can use to disengage if I need to. We're spawning with Grozovoy, so Grozovoy can go scout, but honestly, I might have, and this is quite funny, I might actually have a relatively similar surface detection to that thing. I mean, if it was a Khabarovsk, I probably have a better surface detection than that thing. And my ship's about twice the size, so yeah, funny mechanics. But I'm going to set myself up. You do have to kind of make up your mind where you want your guns to point, because even with the turret traverse module, it's taking them a while to get around. I'm setting myself up to disengage to the right behind that island. That is giving me, if need be, that is giving me some shielding there from incoming fire potentially, depending on what is coming around in the countryside. Now Grozovoy has okay, there's gearing, and that's a bot gearing, and Moscow. Okay, we need to get the bot out of the way because it's annoying, and at this range Grozovoy has the torpedoes out. The bot's probably going to dodge those torpedoes. They generally do. And I might... Do I want to drop the Moskva? No, but I'll ignore the bot for now. And I'm going to try and disengage. Okay, Moskva fire? Damakon fire? Moskva is not stupid. So yeah, he would have seen my torpedoes probably coming. If I'm lucky, he thinks that these were my torpedoes. So, and yeah, the bot sets me on fire again. Moskva hurts, obviously. Let's drop the torpedoes on the Moskva. And then we're actually going to reverse out of here and take down the bot before he gets any funny ideas. And I'm also taking fire from the Montana over there. So let's see if we can get some torpedo hits on the Moskva, maybe. If in case he misinterpreted that and thought that these were my torpedoes instead of Grozovoy's. But I think Moskva has dodged the torpedoes, all except one, maybe. No. Yes, we've taken it. Okay, so he is flooding. And that should be a permaflood. And I should be now concealed from Montana's incoming fire. So yeah, that's a permaflood. Do not damacon single fires, especially not if you are under fire from something like a Zao. Now Moskva is extremely precise, like precise enough to take out my turrets if he wants to. So I do not want to play with Moskva, especially not that I'm on low hit points and Montana is coming in there as well. So it's time to back off, get undetected, and give people something else to shoot at. So what do we have? We've got a Montana coming in, and we have a battleship on our side. Can I get in front of that Montana without being spotted, or with the Montana being otherwise occupied? Now he is at 5 kilometers, he is going to see me, he is slowing down, so I'm going to drop the torpedoes towards the rear, recover some hit points, and then we can get some shots off at the Montana. I appear to have lost 2 of my turrets. I think I'm going to damacon that actually and get them back. I didn't even realize I had lost 2 of them. But I think Montana has just noticed that, yep, there are torpedoes incoming. And there's the Moskva. That Moskva really wants me dead. So 6 torpedo hits on the Monty. Not going to kill him, but he has damage controlled the flood. So we will try to get a fire going without being killed by Moskva in the meantime. I can get the island between myself and Moskva. And that Monty, Monty is going to die. Either to me or to someone else, but I would love to get a perma-fire. Yeah, he's shooting at me, obviously. Everyone's shooting at me. To be fair, I am the closest target. There goes the perma-fire, and I think that should be Monty's got a really good damage control, damage reduction. So let's get another salvo off, but then we probably have to... Yamato steals it. Okay, well done. Better dead than sorry. So that leaves Moskva, who now can no longer see me, because even with my guns active, my surface detection is about as long as my gun range. So he's not going to see me, and I think that's pretty much what all we're going to be doing here. To be honest, we're holding 2 of the capture circles. We're 2 kills ahead. And half my team is heading over to deal with the Moskva. So I might... Yamato's found his brave pants and is now going after the cruiser rather than running away from things. And I am going to head over to B-Cap, where that Grozovoi is going to get himself into a close-range engagement with 2 enemy ships, which he's probably going to regret. So maybe I am still needed there. Probably played a little bit more aggressively than you would normally do in a Zao. But as you can see, if there's Black Yamato. Do I want to... I don't have heals anymore. We've still got 2 minutes left. Well. Trying to make up my mind. Do I want to use the precise aim? And I mean, Grozovoi's got the torpedoes out anyway. Grozovoi's got the torpedoes out. That's going to be a flood. That's a fire. Yama is going to damacon that. That's a double fire. Is he going to damacon it? I'm happy I'm happy with him not to. No, there he goes with the damacon. But that Black Yama is dead. I'm not sure if he's looking at me. I didn't have torpedo angles at him, but now he's looking at me. Now it's a little late because I'm already behind the island. You no longer have angles at me, so yeah, you can't shoot me. You can try, but there's an island in the way. Someone else can clean up the Yama. I'll drop some torpedoes there just in case he comes around the corner, but that's, I think, pretty much game. Yep, friendly Yamato takes him down. The Zao, for me, very much worth it. It's not a multi-rolled ship. I mean, to a degree, she can make herself quite useful even against destroyers, but generally, what Zao likes best is to be popping out of existence, dumping some torpedoes into battleships, setting a couple of fires, and then disappearing again. So it's a little bit of a ghost ship that just likes to pop up and disappear. Funnily enough, the biggest threat to the Zao is actually from other heavy cruisers, I would almost say, because at long ranges you can relatively reliably dodge some incoming battleship fire, but especially things like Hindenburgs can make your life very, very interesting very quickly. And they generally tend to be able to dodge your torpedoes, but with battleships you can often get a couple of good salvos in. And yeah, like I said, that thing can spit out more torpedoes than a Shimakaze. So There's a lot of firepower in the ship, but it is relatively fragile, so you do have to be a bit careful with it. All in all, I think the Japanese heavy cruiser line is still a fun line to play, even though it is one of the oldest lines in the game. It's still a very fun line to play, and the light cruisers are good as well. But I'm enjoying the heavy cruisers from time to time. So certainly, given the surface detection, a bit more of an aggressive playstyle allows for it, and that suits me just well. So not going to work well in every single game, but they can rack up huge damage numbers. Just don't be tempted to think that you're a support cruiser and you have to chase down destroyers, because that's not quite what you're there for. If you get the opportunity, sure, but do be careful to make sure that your angles are clean and that you not get blapped in the side by a Christopher Colombo or by like a Hindenburg or a Des Moines or similar things. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.